Hello, Amber here, and I have a quick tutorial for you today for the 3-needle bind-off. The 3-needle bind-off is used to join together two sets of live stitches. For example, on this cowl, I have a provisional cast on here, and once I pull the crochet part of this off, I will have live stitches that I can put onto a set of needles. And then at the other end, I have the live stitches from working the project. So I began with the provisional cast on, have worked the project flat, and then now I'm going to join these together so that it becomes a tube. This is where I have joined the project on this smaller version. And this is a tutorial for the Dot Dot Cowl and also any other instance where you might need to use a 3-needle bind-off. This will be a quick little reference tutorial for you. I'll begin with placing the stitches onto the needle. Depending on the project, the pattern that you're knitting, you may already have a set of stitches on a needle if you worked a different kind of provisional cast on. In this case, it's the crochet provisional cast on, so I'm just going to release the crochet part and place the stitches onto my needle here. So I have a second set of needles. With a 3-needle bind off, you will need a minimum of 3 needles, ideally of the size that you're using. So you simply just tug that undone and start sliding the needle through the stitches as they come off the crochet thread. Until all of the stitches are taken off the waste yarn. And we have the 2 sets of live stitches that we are going to join together with a 3-needle bind-off. Grafting is also an option in this circumstance when you're wanting to join live stitches with each other. If this project was all stockingette, I probably would choose to go with grafting so that there's not a visible seam. However, with the garter stitch, it's much harder to see where the join is. This is actually here. It's quite invisible, even though you can see the ridge on that side. So the 3-needle bind-off works well for a garter stitch bind-off. Or sometimes I use the 3-needle bind-off as a design feature. I've used it as a kind of seam on a shoulder, for example, joining a front and back together and having that visible. Sometimes I will instruct that the bind-off is worked on the right side of the fabric, which would have the wrong sides facing in, and you would be then working the bind-off across the right side of the fabric. In this circumstance, I have instructed to work the bind-off across the wrong side of the fabric. The bind-off is the same in either case, whether you're working it across the right side or the wrong side, so you can still use these instructions if you're binding off on the right side. So to begin, I make sure that the cowl isn't twisted and that the right sides are facing in with the wrong sides facing out. And I have my yarn connected from the final row of the project. I don't need the whole ball, just enough to be able to work the stitches across. And we'll be working with 3 needles, as per the name, 3-needle bind-off. So sliding these up. Here's the side I've finished working on, and here's the stitches I just put onto the needle. And that's really quite straightforward. It's essentially a regular bind-off, but you're incorporating knitting across both needles. So for the first step, I'll just zoom out. For the first step, you'll insert the needle through the stitch on the front needle and on the back needle as well, the first stitch on each needle, and then work a knit stitch through both of those and take them off both needles so that you have one stitch there remaining. And then repeat that for the next stitch, and I can see that my stitches are slightly twisted in orientation from taking them off the crochet. So I can either twist that stitch back around, or I can just knit through the back of the stitch. So if the leg of the stitch came down over the front, I would knit through the front. And because it's reorientated from the way I've taken it off the crochet, I'm just going to go through the back of the loop for that stitch and the front for the one in the needle behind. Repeat that step, and now there are 2 stitches on the needle, and then it's simply just a matter of bringing that second, or what was the first stitch placed onto the needle, but second stitch there, over the next one and pulling it off, and we now have 1 stitch here. And we'll keep repeating, so every time there's 2 stitches, we will pull that over. And that's it. Being careful not to be too tight, keeping a nice even tension. There is an option to do a stretchy bind-off version of this. I would specify that if I felt it was necessary in a pattern. This one, as long as it's worked not too tightly, will be a great way of joining these 2 edges together. So continue on. I have, with this particular project, I found it's easier to block the cowl before joining. So I've already blocked this flat. I just left the needles in the end and blocked it flat. And I've also woven in the ends already, which I just wanted to do to make it look a bit neater, because there were quite a few different ends in this project. So I didn't want to distract this video from all the ends. So I'll keep continuing along, and as you can see, that ridge is forming on the wrong side, which can be a design feature on the right side if you want it. And then on the right side, it's quite hidden between those 2 garter ridges. I've worked my way across all of those stitches and just have 5 left on each needle. And end as you would normally do by pulling the tail through the loop. And just bring that back out. 3 needle bind off. The cowl is now a loop. It's double the length of this smaller one. I hope that's helpful. Good luck with your 3 needle bind off. Thanks for watching.